Hello, 8th graders. You're on day number 5 of your robot research project, and today you're going to be creating your Google Slides presentation. This is where you do all the research and you put together Google Slides for a presentation that you will be presenting to your classmates next class or next lesson. And so for this, your Google Slides presentation, you're going to be answering guided questions for each Google slide, and I'll go over that in a moment. And just also make sure to make it appealing. You'll add images and think back to day number 4's lesson where you think about what makes a good slide presentation. So by the end of today's lesson or day number 5, you need to answer this question. What do you hope your classmates learn from your robot research presentation? So all of this again will be found in your design notebook. And so go to day number 5 in your design notebook. Your essential question there is at the top, and you'll come back and answer this at the very end. A couple things to remember when doing your research and creating your Google Slides is make sure you're citing the sources that you use when you research. You'll put that in at the final slide, and make sure you have at least 2 sources. That's a must-do, but really you should have at least 4. And those of you who are aspiring to get that higher grade and to try finding more sources, you should have 5 or more, aspire to have 5 or more. And is the source credible? And so if you think back to day number 3, we went over using the RMS database just to have more reliable sources. So if you're not using those, just make sure it is a valid source. And with research, you have to read a lot. So be patient throughout all of this process because whatever source you use, you may read some of the information and realize it's not what you're looking for. So just plan on being patient and reading through a lot. And as far as what you should research, I'm going to show that to you right now. On the side here, you see it says Robot Presentation Google Slides. And so everybody needs to open this to do your presentation. And so this will save you a lot of time because the slides are already created for you with some guided notes in there. So I'll go over that right now, clicking on this link. And you will have to make a copy in order to edit this. So in the top left, you can go to File, make a copy of entire presentation, and that way it'll open in your Google Drive so you can edit each slide. Now, for this, you're going to go through all of these slides, and notice there's 7 of them, and really focus on the bottom here. So you'll see at the bottom down here, it's telling you what you need to do for this slide. So for slide number 1, it's pretty easy. It's just your title slide of include the name of your robot. So let's just say your robot is the Roomba. Well, you would just type in Roomba here, and then have an image of your robot, and so you can find an image online that you're going to copy and paste in here, and then of course have your first and last name here. So I would be done once I find that Google image to put in here. I would be done with slide number 1, and then you can move on to slide number 2. So once again, slide number 2, you'll see at the bottom there are questions down below here that will help guide your research. And notice they're color-coded. So the blue questions, you must do those. That's going to be the most basic information that you're covering for your robot. But the orange and pink are more of the should do and aspire to do, where you can go a little bit more in depth. And so as you're researching, you're going to want to look up that information and type it into these boxes here. And obviously you can edit those bullet points later and make it more visually appealing, but just make sure you get answers to these research questions for every slide here. Now notice I also have a comment in here where it says your robot. So instead of saying what is your robot, you want to be specific about the robot you're doing. So again, if I'm doing Roomba, well, I'm going to change this to saying what is Roomba. And then you would type in your information with bullet points here before moving on to your next slide. And once again, you see it says your robot in parentheses. So replace that right away with whatever your robot is. And then look down below at your slide, your questions here that you need to answer for the research. So for number 3, then it's asking more about the sensors and how your robot actually operates. The 4th slide is the advantages and disadvantages of the robot that you have. The fifth slide is describing the impact that this could have on its intended audience. Now notice this is pink, which is an aspire to do question. It takes a little bit of digging and thinking, deep level thinking, to think about the future of this robot. How would it affect people with jobs, their everyday use, and what could that effect have on other things that may be existing already today. And then the last one is predict and explain how this may be improved in the future, or for different tasks in the future. So those are the 6 slides of main information. And then your 7th slide is simply your resources that you're using. You'll put those citations in here. Reminder that you must have at least 2 different sources. You should have 4 different, but aspire to have 5 or more of them in here. So it takes a while to go again through all of these Google Slides and find that information. Take your time, but once you are done doing that, you'll come back to your Google Slides, or sorry, your design notebook, and at the bottom of day number 5, it talks about how to link in your Google Slides here. Because right now I don't have access to them since you made a copy in order to edit them. So these instructions will go over how to share that with me. So in the top right corner it says share. Now if you go back to your Google Slides, you'll see the top right corner it says share. And you want to make sure at the bottom it says anyone on the internet can view this. If it doesn't say that, then I won't have access to that. So if you don't see that, you'll want to hit change and click on that there. And then you'll copy the link here. Now a lot of students will go up to the website up above here and copy that. Please don't do that. It does not give me access. So you'll want to copy the link from this box here. And then you can go back to your design notebook and include your slide presentation below. You would paste it in there, which is Control V as in Victor. And there it is. So that would give us access to looking at your robot research presentation. And once you're done with this, you are done with day number 5. And eventually then for day number 6, you're going to be presenting that Google Slides presentation and talking through it on Flipgrid. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll be happy to go over those Google Slides with you.